What's up, fellas? I have the 2023 edition of my all exercise selection tier list. I usually put these out when I have something updated or like a new opinion in terms of what I think are the best and worst exercises. I had a little bit of fun with the tier names this time, fellas. And by the way, I have a special guest assisting with the rankings today. If you'd like to scoot your neck into the microphone and say hello.
Hi.
I know you're Johnny Church Mouse. When you tell me to turn the air off, you can yell, but so who are you, mysterious voice?
Gaines Goblin.
This is my woman. She's shy. This is her first time like talking on the old YouTube. But y'all can read the freaking tiers. It starts at Bull, named after that Jack Bull from some of my recent memes, and then Davy Jones' Locker is the worst one. So in terms of how they're ranked. And that's a SpongeBob reference, by the way, if you don't get it. But they're ranked in terms of utility, either strength or size. So I won't rank something poorly just because it makes you strong but not big. You see what I'm saying? And then accessibility. So that's important. It's like, do you have the actual capacity to do this? Like, is this at your gym? Is it easy for you to get to? Or if you do have it at your gym, is it something that people are always using? And then there's ease of use. And then, of course, the Chad factor, like how cool does it look? That's the most important part. So if this isn't your first Bald Omni-Man tier list, you know that we start with Cluck and Bell. Now, why do we start with Cluck and Bell? Cluck and Bell is synonymous for all of your non-training variables. So you're bulking, you're sleeping enough, you're drinking enough water, there's adequate intensity, you're minimizing stress. Everything that you can do outside of the gym is an area of opportunity for you to be able to enhance what you do in the gym. So if you can't recover from your training is useless. And Cluck and Bell is just, it encapsulates that. I just picked the Cluck and Bell one because I think it's a fun way to signify bulking. I had a picture of a power lifter to signify like the big three. Now, I didn't get two different pictures, but we're going to talk about it two different ways. When you do them in a way to fit your goals, whatever your goals may be, they're at the top tier. There's a reason why they're the big three lifts. They don't develop everything, but they're like the foundational lifts. You can modify them for bodybuilding, whatever your goals are. But if you use a form that is not conducive to your goals, but you expect to reach that goal, it's like, it's imprecise. It's like just okay. You see what I'm saying? You have to make sure that the form that you're using matches the goal that you have. So keep that in mind. A lot of people say that they don't like squats or bench press or whatever, but they're not doing it in a way that's conducive to their goal. So it's the reason why they don't like it. So we went for an S tier, and we talked about how it could potentially be D tier. I want to talk about something that's just okay. Now, it looks really freaking cool. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I did one the other day at the gym just to see if I could. I'm bulked up right now, so, you know, me being heavier, these are harder to do, but we're going to talk about front levers. I feel like they're just okay. For me, it's like, are they a better lat exercise than pull-ups? No. Are they a better ab exercise than a leg raise or like a GHD weighted sit-up or something? No. But they look cool, so, and they're functional. You know, you can do them and get good at them, I guess, and you'll get jacked and stacked, and they're just okay. Next, we're going to talk about one that I think is somewhat misunderstood, but I think it's, you know, effective nonetheless. I'm talking about like the Renaissance periodization way of doing things, like in terms of the form, exercise selection. A lot of people are under the impression that it's only good for people who use steroids. I've found that there are a huge number of natural lifters that pretty much train the way that Dr. Mike prescribes, and they get more muscular, jacked, or stronger. It just is what it is, bro. I don't feel like it's something that you can write off. That's just my opinion. Y'all let me know what you think. We're going to let my woman rank this next one. So we're going to talk about overhead press. I'm gonna compare it to a couple other presses, but let's get the icon. I got to find it first. So overhead press is an interesting one because it's a foundational lift, just like the big three lifts. I think this is it right here. This is either overhead press or push press. if I find the push press icon later, we're just going to come back to this one. Where do you think overhead press goes? It's like a shoulder press.
I will put it in the okay.
Okay? Why would you put it in just okay? I was going to put it in jacked.
Well, at first I was going to put it in jacked, but...
I would put it in jacked just simply because...
If you have good form.
Well, yeah, if you have soup sandwich form, anything is going to be Davy Jones locker tier if it's soup sandwich form. We got to judge it based off of good form. Well, I'm going to make the differentiation between the two. So, yeah, that's actually a good point. If you have soup sandwich form, all of this shit is straight Davy Jones locker. Like, you better not tag Dr. Mike on something on Instagram and you're not using full ROM, bro. That's crazy. But it performed well. I don't think that it's my favorite vertical press, but it is the grandfather of all vertical presses in that it's just like the most basic version of it. I prefer behind the neck press and seated anterior delt press. We'll actually talk about that. This is the AD press, and this has been popularized recently by our boy Alex Leonidas. I'm gonna put that in S tier, bro. I feel like it removes the lower back fatigue that you can get from it if you're pushing it hard, and it's lower skill, and he calls it something that expresses dummy strength. Dan Green actually just was on a podcast with Pete Rubish, and he talked about how he favors like seated anterior delt press over the overhead press for that reason, and he said it gave him better shoulder pump. And Dan Green is of such a caliber that pretty much if he says it's good, I'm just going to do it without questioning it. So next we're going to talk about one that I think is not that good or potentially cannot be that good. So I like good mornings, but there's a way that you got to do them for you to be able to reap the benefit. I'm going to put them in Hercules tier if they're done in a way that you're actually stretching your hamstrings and the range of motion is good. But if you have a positive knee angle or even like a straight up and down knee angle, I feel it's more of just like an upper body only lift that's really specific to strength training. And even in that capacity, I feel like it's just like a Davy Jones locker tier lift if you do it like that. Because I feel like it's not better than a stiff leg deadlift, and it's not better than an RDL when you perform it that way. But when you perform it adequately to get a good hypertrophy stimulus, I do feel like it's a good exercise. But one I don't think it's better than is just a regular ass RDL or stiff-legged deadlift. And I made sure to pick a freaking picture of Dr. Mike so I could find it. The man is a jacked Ninja Turtle looking motherfucker, and he's easy to spot amongst these pictures. I'm going to put this straight into S tier because everything that the Good Morning does, some of my colleagues may disagree with this. That's fine. Y'all can chime in if you would like. But my perspective is that we're doing these big barbell movements to get a big holistic stimulus everywhere. And I feel like the Good Morning doesn't stretch your upper back as much. You can't make it a lat and rear delt and teres major exercise like you can in RDL with like a reach. And it's just not as good for strength training either. I think there are cases where you would pick a Good Morning over an RDL. Like if, for example, Gaines Goblin, maybe you could chime in on this, but what if you wanted to get your booty bigger, but you didn't want to train your upper body? Would you do the RDL or would you do a Good Morning?
Probably the RDLs.
Why would you do the RDL? That's going to make you yoked. I guess the Gaines Goblin name isn't for no reason. You would pick the Good Morning, okay? Because you're not working your upper body. The bar is on your neck. I mean, you get a little neck gains, I guess.
But why would I want a big ass neck?
Why would you want a big ass neck? I don't know, because it'll make you less yoked than the RDL, I guess, if you're looking for the least yoked that you can get with it. But in all jokes aside, there could be cases where you pick the Good Morning in a case where you don't want to work your upper body as much, or you can't work your upper body as much because you did a whole bunch of rows, or your recoverable volume of your upper body muscles is at its limit. So I've been looking at the profile picture of myself. What could this signify? Well, I just released a video called like the 10 Berserk Method staple lifts, which by the way, fellas, you already know if I put like the top 10 exercises, in all actuality, it was like 15 and I can't count. But that video is really good because it talked about the staple lifts that I use in the Berserk Method. If you haven't watched the 2023 edition of that, please check that out after this one and then watch the follow-up video where I talk about the exercises and how I coach them. They ensure that you don't have any weak links in terms of your strength or size training, depending upon your goals. You can use them for either or. And they're exercises that I prescribe for people all the time when I make, my training spreadsheets for my clients. So, all right. I keep looking at this one. This is the behind the neck press. So I'm going to put this, if overhead press is in jacked tier, I'm going to put this between the anterior delt press and the overhead press. I feel like behind the neck press is better for hypertrophy than the overhead press in that it's a more targeted stimulus to the shoulders and to the yoke. I don't feel like it's as accessible as the anterior delt press, but I do feel like it's equally as stimulative. Does that make sense? Not a lot of people are going to be able to push this heavy at first either, like they will the anterior delt press, because it's a plane of motion that you have to acclimate yourself to. A lot of people can't just hop in and just do it. So this big transformer arm guy is our boy Jeffrey. Now he has a way of performing arm exercises and back exercises that has worked really well for him. I'm going to talk about them both differently because in my opinion, one's got a lot better results for him personally. The beyond failure arm stuff, I mean, just look at his arms, bro. He's dieted down right now, and I think his dieted down arms are the same size as my bulked up arms. That's embarrassing. I got some work to do. The fella knows his arm training, and something that he really swears by is beyond failure arm training. So when you can no longer do like a clean rep, he'll either introduce a sloppier one or just do half reps. If you've ever watched his Instagram stories, the shit looks crazy, but it gives crazy results as well. Now, in terms of his back training, I do like beyond failure back training as well. But for me, I personally like, and I have a big ass back, so I am to back as Jeffrey is to arms. Does that make sense? I like beyond failure back training, and I do feel like it could be a good intensity technique. But I really like, especially when you're advanced, exercises that give you a more targeted stimulus and that you can accumulate clean reps on. Because the thing with back training, I found that the more clean reps that you can accumulate, the better result that you're going to get. Now, for me, I can just do Oonga Boonga pull-ups. For Jeffrey, that hasn't quite worked as well, which is why he did the beyond failure back training to get extra stimulus out of it. I feel like it's just going to depend upon what works best for you. But if I'm talking about what's worked better for him between the two, I think the arms have definitely worked better. Let's see. Rest in peace to John Meadows. This one makes me sad. Like guys, I don't even really watch John Meadows videos anymore at this point because I just can't. Meadows rows are just a better dumbbell row. Just is what it is. The fella has an exercise named after him. Do Meadows rows, and an immense stretch. They're really easy to set up. You can do them anywhere. If you have a freaking tennis ball at home and a corner to put your barbell in and some plates, you can do them. Jefferson curls. This might be our first D tier, bro. So let me just preface this by saying, 1, I have a big ass back. 2, I have big ass legs. I'm strong. You know, I can deadlift a lot. I can squat a lot. If I had to look at the benefits of a Jefferson curl, the biggest one to me is in training your lower back when it's in that flex state for the purposes of rehab, or if there was a specific reason why you needed to do that. Like, I can't think of, it's very fringe, I guess you could say. You can get big doing this, don't get me wrong, but if I had to pick between a Jefferson curl and a stiff-legged deadlift for posterior chain, and I'm trapped on an island I wouldn't even think to do a Jefferson curl. It just is what it is. If it comes to glutes, there's exercises, including the RDL, that are way better for glutes. If it comes to lower back, I can't imagine that I would need anything more than a conventional deadlift, some back extensions, or an RDL. I would never think to do this to build any part of my body. And that's my opinion. I feel like the uses for it are legitimate, but they're not very widespread. Does that make sense? There's no reason for you to do those over something more conventional, in my opinion. I mean, how do you feel about the banana back lift? What is that? It's not dangerous, so don't say it looks dangerous, because it's not. But would you do the banana back lift, or would you do a stiff-legged deadlift?
I mean, if I'm trying to bulk, I would do a stiff leg deadlift.
For sure. You don't got to be a Johnny Church mouse. They all love you already.
Well, I don't really know what that is. I've never seen it.
It's a Jefferson curl. It's the Johnny banana back lift.
I need to YouTube that. So I don't...
Well, you can't find it with Johnny banana back. That's just a term that I came up with. Moving on, talking about glutes, actually. We'll compare it to a much better glute exercise. My boy Izzy from Powerlifting to Win suggested this one. So, as you can see, or, you know, this handsome ginger fella here is my boy Ken Cooper, aka Ginger Cleese. He made this hilarious. So let me tell you about this. So my boy Ken made this freaking reel where he was like, so how much does Thanos weigh from Avengers? And it's like 900 pounds or something. And then he makes like, he looks at the camera suggestively and then does these fucking 900-pound hip thrusts like he's busting Thanos' cheeks or something. It was hilarious. Hip thrusts, all jokes aside, fellas, are a way better glute exercise than a Jefferson curl ever will be. I think that the glutes are a big muscle. I think they're the largest muscle in the human body in terms of volume. And they're the only one that works the glutes in line with like the way that they flex. So if I'm being like real, like objective, it would have to go in bull. But if I'm being real with myself at the same time, I don't do hip thrusts. So I'd put it in Hercules. Y'all let me know how you feel about that one. Does it go in the bull tier or Hercules tier? That's just my opinion. You don't have to whisper.
I was just saying, covers some more Davy Jones.
Oh, some more Davy Jones. Okay, yeah, it is pretty barren. It's another Davy Jones locker lift. Where's the one-arm pull-up? That is a terrible exercise. We'll talk about the one-arm push-up. I had to do our man Goku dirty for the one-arm push-up. We'll talk about these. These are, and nobody think that like I can't do these. You can go on my channel and see me do one-arm pull-ups at over 200 pounds. They're a Chad-looking exercise, but how are you going to build your body with a one-arm pull-up, bro? And much the same, how are you going to build your body with a one-arm push-up? One-arm push-ups feel terrible, first and foremost. They don't feel good at all. One-arm pull-ups stretch the shit out of your joints and everything. You're not going to build your body or strength with those. Those are a demonstration of strength. They don't build it, and they don't build size. You can literally talk into the mic. You don't have to be Johnny Church Mouse. The period would have been hilarious if they could hear it. So I have this light-skinned lady floating on a... That wasn't a mistake, fellas. So I couldn't find a good enough picture to talk about floater isolation. This is something that I talk about on the Berserk Method 2023, but it's any exercise that you superset with something else so that you can fit in exercises that you would otherwise skip. So that's like abs, calves, forearms, side delts, rear delts, things of that nature. She's floating on a floaty, so that signifies floater. I think that if you add floater isolation to your program, you'll get a lot better of a result in terms of not only your physique, but in terms of strength as well. Bigger rear delts is more stability on bench press. And I can go down the line and talking about smaller muscle groups that contribute to performance on compound lifts. So it is important. Let's talk about one that's just okay. So I'm going to be real with you guys. There are exercises that I used to really love and that I think are good, but if I'm being real, there's another exercise that does it better. So the Lou raise is just okay. It's really good at increasing shoulder mobility. I don't feel like it's as good as a regular lateral raise for building the side delts because you can't use as much weight. And I feel like as your shoulder raises a little bit above parallel, there's a diminishing return in how much your side delt is stimulated. That could be total bro science, and someone could pop in with the fucking study that says, da da da. Well, that's actually wrong. First of all, I can't read, so fuck the study. That's just been my personal experience. Again, you can feel free to disagree. That's what this is for. But if one exercise I had to compare it to was a lot better, and plus another thing is, bro, if you're not going to do them with the bumper plates like our boy Lou, why are you even doing them? Just do a regular fucking lateral raise. Where's the regular lateral raise at? I want to rank that. Particularly, I've really been liking a seated lateral raise. We'll get back to that later. We'll rank that in a sec. I can't find it. I'm not going to look for it. Here's one that I think is better than the Lou raise, but I can't really put it much higher just because it's not very accessible. So it's a cable raise. That's the problem, though. People are always using the cable machine. It's very functional, and you could argue that it's a better stimulus to the side delts than with a dumbbell because the strength curve is better. But how many times have you gone to the gym and you see some Johnny One Plate doing 12 sets of whatever cable exercise? And yeah, you can, express some social skills and say, bro, can I work in with you? But what if he says no? Or what if there's some other Johnny One Plate that wants to work in with him? It's just not as accessible, in my opinion, for that reason. Now, it is more accessible than other cable exercises because maybe you could sneak in because you only need one cable to do that. Some of these exercises require like 2 cables and a bench, and it's going to get judged more negatively for that. Let's see here. Where's that exercise that I'm talking about? It's the cable press. That I am actually going to, because I got time today, I can look for that one. Where are you at? So I don't really think the cable press fly thing, it's a great exercise in that it's very stimulative. So if you're in a home gym and you can hog the cable station because you're at home and it's only your woman coming in and she's not using the damn cable station, she's probably doing hip thrusts or some yoga shit or whatever, bro, bull tier easily. It's like a worse version of a ring push-up, but I don't say that in a demeaning way. I feel like the ring push-up is just superior, or ring work in general, but it functions much the same. But if we're talking practicality, straight Davy Jones locker, bro, because here's the thing. Everybody and their mother watches the same optimal exercises TikToks where they see some Johnny One Plate, sub 3 plate bench presser talking about, well, this is the best chest press exercise because of the costal press around and da da da. And then everybody wants to do this exercise. You need a bench and 2 cable stations to do this. That's just not practical. Y'all can let me know how you feel about that, though. So one that people feel like is a bad or like just a mediocre exercise that I think needs to go straight in the S tier is like any deep leg press or deep hack squat or leg machine in general where you can push your legs without pushing your lower back. This is especially helpful for people where just because of how long your legs are, like the Gaines Goblin's 5'2", but her legs are very long for her height. Her legs are over half of her height. Myself as well, I have really long legs, so a squat can end up being more of a back exercise than it is a leg exercise. You can become good at squats to make them more of a leg exercise, but then again, there will always be a skill element to that. Leg press, you put a yoga block under your bum or behind your bum, or you get on a hack squat and you squat all the way down. It's literally all legs and there's no skill component to it. And your legs are a huge muscle group that contribute a lot of pounds to your physique and a lot of strength as well. So those are amazing. Now, one that I think is good, and I made sure to highlight it with the Bells of Steel belt squat machine. I think in terms of function, it goes right up there with the other leg machines, but it's a less common leg machine. You don't see it in gyms as often, so I'm going to put it in the Hercules tier. How you can solve that is by getting a Bells of Steel belt squat machine. It's $1,000 shipped. That's not like a salesman pitch either. You look at like most belt squat machines, not only do they not let you get the range of motion that this does, but also they cost a lot more. They take up a ton more space, and they're harder to resell because no one wants to fucking use them. This is a solid pick right here. This I would put in S tier, but I have to talk about how, one, how expensive other brands are, and two, how infrequently you actually see them in a regular gym. Let's talk about a hotly contested one lately. So incline curls. And no natural hypertrophy enjoyers that agree with everything he says. Because I don't share the same opinions with him on everything does not mean there is a problem between us, and does not mean that there needs to be a problem between you and the bald Omni-Man enjoyers. We can all fucking just get jacked and stacked doing whatever we want, including like the Davy Jones locker exercises. All right. I think that these are, so recency bias says that they're bull tier because I've recently called them the stiff-legged deadlift of arms. But I feel like they're somewhere between Hercules and bull tier. I'm going to just put them there for now. They're a really good strict curl. You can still like kip and cheat on them. It's not totally brainless on the form, but it's a lot stricter than a standing dumbbell curl. And it gives you a great stretch. You see Arnold here doing them with what I would say is about maybe a 60-degree bench. I set mine a little higher at about 80 degrees. Just because I feel like the strength curve feels better to me. But just play around with how much of an incline that you use. Just know that like the more of a gangsta lean you put to it, the weirder the strength curve is going to feel. It's not going to feel as even. So I'm going to let you pick the next one, Gaines Goblin. Which one should I do next? Just click on the icon. Let's see what they pick. Of course you're going to pick the Bulgarian split squat for booty. Which tier does it go into in your opinion?
I'm gonna be honest, I'd leave it in the Davy Jones locker.
Okay, I'm not gonna give you my opinion yet. Why does it go in Davy Jones locker tier?
Well, I don't personally like it that much because I don't think it's that good on your knees.
Okay, I think that's valid. I don't think it goes in Davy Jones locker tier, but that is something that I didn't think about because I was gonna put it straight into Hercules tier. Because I judge a lot of these exercises when they're done properly and when you can do them without pain. I have had times in my life, and maybe fellas can relate to this, because your hips aren't very flexible, your knees have to take more of the stress than would otherwise be distributed between your hips and your knees. So I think that's valid. Like if they fucking hurt, don't do them. Like straight to Davy Jones locker tier. Maybe do a regression of them if you really want to do them and build up to doing them without pain. And then they would go in Hercules tier. I feel like any single leg work is really good because it allows you to get in extra volume on your legs that doesn't fatigue your lower back very much. And I feel like they stretch your adductors and your glutes a little bit more, which is why I thought you were going to put them straight in bull tier. I was shocked when you put it in Davy Jones locker tier. We're going to rapid fire some of these ones because some of these, bro, I shouldn't have to explain to you why they're good. All right. So first and foremost, calisthenics, straight into S tier, bull tier rather. Shouldn't have to explain that to you. I've made videos. Some fella pointed out that I used the word bemoan incorrectly, and I was going to say that shit again. I got to find a different word. I have extensively talked about the benefits of calisthenics, both unweighted and weighted. Rings, whether that's ring pull-ups, ring dips, ring push-ups, ring isolation, that goes straight in the bull tier. I shouldn't have to tell you why. Let's do another one. We're going to do two more in the rapid fire. I do have to tell y'all why front squats are S tier and why y'all are fucking tripping. Larson press. How could I forget? I got our boy Bulk Maxed Freaky D here doing the 5-plate Larson press. I shouldn't have to tell you why that goes in S tier. All right. So seal rows. one may think that I would put these in S tier just because I helped popularize them with a lot of people. I feel like I'm gonna put them in jacked tier. That may be sacrilege to some people because they're like, dude, you told me they were S tier. Everything I know is a lie. I think that if we're looking at the grading criteria, I think that a lot more people should be doing regular ass barbell rows because they holistically build your back and your posterior chain. And a lot of people avoid doing them when they barbell row like a plate to quote unquote minimize lower back fatigue. You are not capable, if you are a Johnny one plate rower, of generating any significant lower back fatigue that would stop you from being able to squat or deadlift. That's not reality. Like, even if you deadlift a good amount of weight, you deadlift 600 pounds, what are you going to be doing strict rows with? 225, 250? That 250 would be like pushing it, okay? All right, you're not going to generate excess lower back fatigue, more than likely. And in the instances where you do, yeah, do a seal row. But I feel like that's a lot less, that happens a lot less often than I think people are being honest about. So front squats. Front squats go right into S tier, bull tier. I think that they are a very underrated squat exercise. Now, keep in mind that we've been ranking a lot of these exercises based upon when they are done skillfully and not when they are done unskillfully. I hope that's a fucking word. I got people checking my grammar and shit now. Look, guys, I'm no linguist, all right? I have the charisma factor to 100, but the linguistic factor is on, like, barely functional. I think front squats are a very underrated exercise and an unsung hero of squat training. Let me tell you why. And it's just going to boil down like this. The strongest fellas that I can think of, whom I respect a ton, when you look at the ones that use front squats and do them skillfully, they all say the same thing. When I put weight on my front squat, my back squat went up accordingly. A lot of people will use the front squat as a driver of their back squat and then back squat submaximally. Dan Green just actually released a video talking about this, wherein, man, he didn't let anything go. Like, there are fellas that hate front squats just because they're hard, if we're just keeping it a buck, and then they cope and they say all these, oh, lower back fatigue, upper back fatigue, da-da-da. If you do them skillfully and you don't scooch your butt back or you scoot your butt up and lift it with your hips, wherein you have to take more of the load on your upper back, you can get it to target your legs preferentially, all right, wherein it basically becomes a self-limiting variation of the back squat. You have to dedicate some skill to that. So, one may argue that that may take away from its placing, but if the world champions, the best of the best, are saying it's a good squat assistance exercise, it's a good squat assistance exercise. And I'm not going to listen to the people that are doing it shittily and can't even do a front rack properly. Now, a fella got the most likes when I left this community post, and I'm going to shout him out real quick. I was waiting to talk about the front squat before I mentioned our boy John. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, bro, so I'm not going to butcher it, but you know who you are. I told you I was going to pin you. He mentioned the heel elevated zombie squat. Now, I couldn't find a picture of that, so just imagine this fella with his arms out like a zombie is, he has his heels on a squat wedge, all right? Now, if I'm going to compare them to like an SSB heel elevated squat or high bar heel elevated squat, so here's how I feel about this. The point of a front squat to me is to do an exercise that is one deviation of loading lower than your back squat to build your back squat. I feel like if we're doing an exercise expressly to build our legs, we want to balance loading with the movement pattern. And I feel like if we're using the squat wedge, our knees are already going way over our toes. They're going far further over our toes than they would if it were not on a squat wedge. So I feel like the load being limited on that zombie squat, along with you being tipped forward a little bit more, is going to make it hard to skillfully perform it. But even if it were skillfully performed, I don't feel like the loading on the legs is going to be as much as my boy Brian, or aka Giraffe Bra on Instagram, doing a heel elevated plat squat with an SSB. I feel like it's just so much more loading on the legs, less skill that you have to employ, and it just feels like a more effective exercise. And someone can chime in and feel free to disagree with that. With the heel elevated zombie squat, I feel like you get none of the benefits of a front squat with a lot of the skill demand. Does that make sense? But it's still a good exercise because it's still heel elevated. We're going to do another rapid fire of exercises that are obviously fucking good that I should not have to explain to you. So, GHD sit-ups, and this is like a side bend, but I couldn't find a picture of like a GHD sit-up on the reverse hammer from Bells of Steel. That's the one that I use. Should not have to tell you why that one is good. Let's see here. What's another one I shouldn't have to tell you about? Neck training. Okay, where is this at? My boy Hersoviak. Man, if I have to tell you why neck training is good after you see his 20-inch natty neck, bro, I shouldn't have to tell you why that's good. I feel like it does one thing very well, so I can't put it in bull tier. But, bro, look, if you aren't training your neck after watching that video, start training your neck, all right? What's one that you want to rank? I got one that I'm going to talk shit about in a second. It's not a trick question. This one?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the single leg press. So, this is where like some of the growth comes into play. I used to, in the past, put a single leg press in like between A and S tier. These days, I don't see any reason to put it above like a regular single leg exercise, because I feel like just do your single leg exercises with dumbbells and barbells. Here's how I'm going to explain it. It's going to be very unga boonga. The single leg press is more comfortable than these exercises. These burn your yoke, your grip. They're a lot more fatiguing cardiovascularly. But everyone that I've saw get really good at split squats or reverse lunges is fucking jacked. I see jacked people do single leg press, but I have never seen anyone get jacked from single leg press. And I feel like people avoid things that are hard too much. So I'm going to put these in okay, and I'm going to put most of the single leg work in A tier or higher, Hercules tier or higher. So this signifies odd lifts. These go straight to Davy Jones' locker. I'm going to tell you why, because it just seems like more and more people have an impression that they're equal replacements for conventional compound movements or bodybuilding exercises. So read or listen. This doesn't mean that you can't get bigger or stronger doing like your odd lifts, whatever your odd lift of choice is. But there is a comparison between it and a conventional lift that it's going to get mogged into oblivion. A Jefferson deadlift is not better than a stiff-legged deadlift for building any muscles used in the Jefferson deadlift. It's not going to get you stronger than a conventional deadlift. It just is what it is. You can choose to do that, and any movement that you do in the gym is good if it gets you active and gets you in the gym. You get a lot of the benefits that you get from lifting weights in terms of the bone density and like all the normie shit. But if we're talking about I want to cultivate mass and strength, if you're doing that with an odd lift, you're choosing to pick a low-tier character on a fighting game. Let's see. So I'm going to talk about the two best tricep exercises known to man. I don't think that they go in the same tier, but I do think that they're excellent. So we're going to talk about the French press and then the rope push down. I might have forgot to get a rope push down icon. So just play pretend like we got one. I got one of the French press here. I think the French press, in terms of stimulus, for me, it's better than a press down. It's a little bit better. But it has to be bridged into after a press down in most cases. Like, you're not just going to be able to go in with cold elbows and do French presses without doing a press down earlier in the program. So if I'm just judging them off the strength of their individual merit and not when they're combined, because combined, they're easily S tier. Like, you don't do one without the other. But if we're to talk about them one after the other, the French press would go in Hercules tier, and then the press down would go in Bull tier, because the press down, it is the exercise that warms up your elbows. It is the exercise that gets your tricep tendons ready to do extensions, while also building your triceps and building tendon strength. If I find the tricep press down icon sometime later, I'm going to go ahead and put it in there, as well as hack squats or deep leg press or like heel elevated squats. But like, I picked the picture of Jeffrey for a reason. He has big chunky legs, and that's one of his top leg exercises. You know, I'm not saying that Hercules tier, like, please don't take anything in Hercules tier being wrong. There are people that will say, well, Omni-Man said that this was better than that. Fella, look, it's in Hercules tier. Is Hercules a jabroni, or is he a fucking demigod? Like, use common sense is free, fellas. It's a Hercules tier lift. What's one that you want to pick? I see you looking. What, the preacher curl? Mm-hmm. Preacher curl. That's the curl motherfucker song. This is a lift that Natural Hypertrophy suggested. I'm going to put it in the same tier as incline curls. They offer a lot of the same benefits. I do feel like people have seen more injury videos of the preacher curl, for sure. Like, they see people tearing biceps or whatever. But I feel like more people will do the preacher curl correctly than the incline curl. I've seen people have tagged me on some soup sandwich form with the incline curls where they're somehow still cheating with them, or using half reps and not really getting the stretch out of it. So I feel like they're equal replacements, and it's just, bro, just do whatever you connect with better. What would you do? Would you do an incline curl or a preacher curl?
I feel like I would do an incline.
You would do an incline curl. How come? So, guys, she just said she's team incline curl, and she has no, like, horse in the race. All right, so let that be. Some people are gonna have a fun time with that. So, Gaines Goblin is team incline curl, and she doesn't even like exercise or watch any of our videos.
What do you mean I don't watch?
You watch mine sometimes. You ain't watching no Natural Hypertrophy or Jeffrey. You ain't watching them. I don't even think you're subbed to them. Guys, that's not a hit on you. She's not subbed to anybody.
I'm subbed to you.
She's only subbed to me. I've been looking at Alex's big ass back, and I need to rate this exercise because I've used this, for a few months. I think I'm gonna talk about it in a few different directions. If you don't mind, like, setting up your loading pin and your plates and then taking them off and shit, bull tier exercise. Any diagonal pull is going to work a part of your lats, wherein if you've never done a diagonal pull before, I guarantee you it's going to make your lats sore every time you do it. I have a diagonal pull that I vastly prefer, and because it's easier to set up and it's done on rings, which are in bull tier. I think for me, S tier stimulus, it's a pain in the ass to set up, bro. I'm sure even if we talked about it, you'd be like, yeah, man, I'm tired of taking these plates off. But it's a great exercise. It's just be aware that it takes a long time to set up and shit like that. But as long as, you don't have an issue doing that, there's no issue with the exercise. Because functionally, it's perfect. The ghetto pull down is amazing. And your boy himself, me, I was doing them for a while, and I really, really like them. I like the L-sit pull-up. It has just as much, if not more, stimulus on top of working the abs really well. And I don't have to do anything but hang from my rings. I feel like it's the exercise that I would go with. I feel like Alex has a big-ass back. I have a big-ass back, and these are just our exercises of choice. It's like the difference between an incline curl and a preacher curl. Except for I'm not saying that the ghetto pull-down is shit. Like Natural Hypertrophy says incline curls are shit. I just have one I prefer. Which I think, by the way, I think that was just a giga brain way to get people to do like a stretch based curl, that whole incline curl debate. So, incline bench, we're talking about inclines. This is my boy Andrew hitting, I think, what was a set of 5 or 6 on incline bench with 3 plates. These are very slept on. So, S tier is fucking congested, so I'm just not gonna put it in S tier because it's getting too bulky. But if it wasn't already congested and it didn't have this competition, I would put it in S tier. I feel like it teaches you leg drive. The range of motion on it is huge. You can touch the bar to different points on your chest to work different parts of your chest. The average movement competency of the average viewer, I don't think that this is a lift for like a beginner or intermediate lifter. I think this is a lift for someone that knows how to move their body and won't use soup sandwich form to put up weight to compete with somebody. So I do 2 plates. I work out with 2 plates on this right now. Granted, I just started doing it, so no doubt I can move up to more. But I work out on regular bench with way more weight than that. I'm using 2 plates because that's like what I need on a guillotine press to work my muscles. This is a lift that someone that is newer could do, but they would use way lower weights than they think they should be able to. So that's just me saying, like, bro, work into the movement if you are going to do it. I don't feel like it's inherently dangerous for the shoulders or bad for your shoulders, because if you can take your fucking arm and externally rotate it and then push it back and then push it up and it doesn't hurt, there's no reason why you can't do that under some degree of loading. All right, you do it with pink dumbbells. Oh, it didn't hurt, Omni-Man. All right, well, you can do it with 10 and so on, and you can build up to working out with it over time. So I don't buy that. But of course, don't do anything that would hurt you. And like, bro, don't use soup sandwich form because you can get hurt on anything. Speaking of soup sandwich form, I've been looking at rows. Now, this is rows done with soup sandwich form. That's what this is meant to signify. Straight D tier. There's a fella that reached out to me on a poll, and I'm not talking shit, bro, because you and I talk on Instagram regularly. But the fella said next, bandwagon. They're not jacked, and 2, their form when they do barbell rows, which are supposedly, they're way better than that optimal nerd exercise. Their form is fucked. All right, you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Now, if you do rows like the Chad Arnold Schwarzenegger, bro, they're a way better exercise. They're going straight into. I am gonna put him in bull tier. It's the Arnold style row where he reaches forward like I do on the reach RDLs, and you stretch your upper back muscles out, you stretch your lats out, your arms get further over, closer to your head, which is gonna stretch your lats out more. That's like the Ubermensch way to do barbell rows. Arnold rounded his back, which got a little bit more spinal erectors, which is not wrong. I coach it with an extended back, but it's the same reach where you're reaching the bar closer to your face. Feels better than any cable row or row machine that I've talked about, which is, we've had quite a few hot takes, but let's talk about freaking cable rows and lat pull downs. A lot of people think that they need to do these exercises at the gym, that they're, if you go to the gym and you do pull-ups instead of a cable row or a lat pull down, you're hustling in reverse. You'll never get a big back. As soon as I find this damn thing, where is it at? I got time today. If you see the cable row or the lat pull down, you let me know. That's a behind the neck pull up, I think. So I feel they're better or even remotely comparable to their free weight variations. I'm done looking for them, but you do have access to both. I'm not programming a cable row over that style of barbell row pretty much ever. And if I do perform something else other than a barbell row, it's just going to be a chest supported row.
Just look at girl, bad girl machine.
Yes. Where do you think the good girl, bad girl machine goes? You got this dude fucking flipping out on the fucking adductor machine. Probably squats under 4 plates.
I would leave it in jack.
Jacked?
I wouldn't put it above that though, because I feel like people like to try to use more weights than what they really can do.
Wait, hold on. Come closer and say that, because this is This is a true Johnny One Plate saying this. What was that?
I'm not a Johnny One Plate.
All right, but like you be squatting as much as some of these guys that play the adductor Olympics.
It's like, in my opinion, it's a very isolated machine, so less is more. You don't really need to load a bunch of weight on it because it's not necessary.
True. So I feel like, here's how I feel about the adductor machine. I feel like it's a balance between those two things, all jokes aside. And that's not to say Gaines Goblin is weak. She's pretty fucking strong, especially for her weight and the fact that the last time she went to the gym with me was like 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago, and she did. All right, so you weigh like 100 pounds or something usually. She did 155 pounds on the stiff leg deadlift for like fucking 14 reps. I still have the video somewhere. Maybe I'll post it. That is an insane body weight to strength ratio. All right. I feel like these work your adductors and they isolate them. And if you're not someone that can squat deep, or you don't squat deep, or you just want extra adductor volume because you're doing the most squatting that you can recover from, they're an invaluable exercise. Like, there's a reason why I tell you fellas to do that. But we can't mistake developmental exercises for performance exercises. And that's where, you know, my woman saying, like, you have to use the weight that's adequate for the job. If you're maxing out the adductor machine and your squat is subpar, the reason why you should be doing an adductor machine is to enhance your leg development, not to max out the adductor machine. Does that make sense? You said that's a good what?
It's like a good exercise you do for control. Like, you do it slowly and like try to have control over the weight.
True. So we're down to maybe about 30 more exercises. This was like 100 exercises, fellas. We're going to do another rapid fire. Running? Oh, yeah.
Put that in Davy Jones' locker.
I'm not going to put it in Davy Jones' locker tier.
When I asked you to do a marathon with me, put it.
So a marathon and just going for a brisk run in the morning are different. So to train for a marathon, I feel like I would have to focus more on that so that I wouldn't hurt myself running or something like that. But if we're talking about just the idea of cardio in general, you got to put it in bull tier. Daily activity level is very important. So personally, I get in about 12,000 steps per day. And I'm always telling the Gaines Goblin that they got to get up and go for walks in between meetings or whatever, or get on the bike in the morning when there's health and wealth, that we needed to talk about it here. This is just another chest supported row. This is the jacked ass Jared Feather doing it. I'm going to put it in the same tier as seal rows for the same reason. Same with the barrel row. It's a little bit more mid back, but it's a lot of the same talking points. Leg extensions. This was requested by Young King Max, Sam's brother. I'm going to put them in A tier. A lot of people feel like they're a trash exercise because they're dangerous for your knees, or like, why do leg extensions when you could do squats? Well, we have to keep in mind that, yeah, I've done leg extensions and they've hurt my knees. But guess what happened when I felt a rep of leg extensions hurt my knees? I adjusted the way that I was doing it so that it didn't hurt my knees anymore. Fellas, I'm giga sweating. The Gaines Goblin is sitting right next to me and our body heat is combining. Can you please turn on the air conditioner? I'm dying. You can get up. I mean, I'm not gonna... They can't see you, like, fucking turn on the air conditioner. Thanks. Unless you would like my armpits to keep drenching you in testosterone-infused sweat. Please. Thank you. When the Gaines Goblin comes back, I'm going to ask their opinion on another exercise. Recently... You want me to put the Kelso shrug in Davy Jones' locker? I think she's just doing that because I asked her to get up and turn the air on. Fellas, I've been doing the Kelso shrug recently, and I really like it for isolating the upper back musculature. I feel like if I'm being intellectually honest, I can't put it any higher than jacked tier. But if you're someone like Jeffrey, for instance, his arms and his triceps are so developed that they aid in a lot of his back exercises, even when he like actively tries to have that not happen. The Kelso shrug, there's no way for you to use anything but your upper back musculature. So for fellas like him and for like you potentially, if that applies to you, a Kelso shrug can be really good, and they can be like something that you pick after your barbell rows and your regular pulls and everything else to round out your training. I can't put them in like the bull tier though, even though I feel they have bull tier stimulus. It's just like it's more situational. You're looking at the one with the girl. So where would you? This is a reverse lunge. So it's different from a Bulgarian split squat in that it's working your butt more. So where would you put it?
I would put it in Hercules.
Hercules tier? How come you put it in Hercules tier?
Well, where's the one that we...
Where's what?
I thought you put lunges somewhere up here.
I think I put them in the A tier as well.
These ones?
Yeah, those are the Bulgarian split squats. Those are more quads, and they take a little bit more hip flexibility in my experience.
Well, I mean, I feel like if these are in Hercules, then those should be in Hercules. And plus, I find those are a better alternative for your knees if these hurt too much.
Very true, so that's a good point. So, despite me calling Gaines Goblin a Johnny One Plate, she's a national level champion athlete, so she knows how to fucking exercise. She just chooses not to typically, but even to this day, she's still jacked just from doing nothing. Incredible genetics. That's a good talking point for two reasons. All single leg work is pretty comparable when you're doing it freestanding, which includes the walking lunges, so those go straight into A tier as well. They have different reasons why you may pick one over the other. So if you're looking to build and maintain more hip flexibility, you may choose to do the Bulgarian split squats. If you're looking for something that isn't as harsh on the knees, you'll do the reverse lunges. And then if you're looking for something that's a little balanced between the two, the walking lunges look the chattiest in my opinion, because you're doing walking lunges across the gym with 120-pound dumbbells. People are fucking getting out of the way while you're trying to do it because they don't want to get ran the fuck over. I feel like a tank when I do those at the gym. But they're all pretty comparable. It's just different reasons why you'd pick them.
Did we cover all the neck exercises?
Yeah, that was our
Wait, what about this one? With the cable.
Oh, that's the cable crunch. That's good. That's a great exercise. I feel like we put the GHD sit up in S tier. We got to put that in S tier too. The cable crunch works every function of the abs just as well as the GHD sit ups, and that was recommended by Faz Lifts. Watch this video on how to perform them, by the way, because a lot of y'all doing them fucked up with way too much posterior chain, and you're turning it into a hip hinge and not working your abs at all. The Virgin Iliac pull down. I used to put this in D tier. It's just okay. I mean, yeah, it functions. It works the lower lat. But why do that instead of an L-sit pull-up or a ghetto pull-down? There's no reason to. Plus, you look like a Sammy Sausage Head doing it.
What is the warm-up?
This is the upright row. Ooh, upright rows. So some people are convinced this goes in Davy Jones' locker tier. I used to talk about it as if it was like a B tier exercise. I still feel like it is. I'm not going to put it in OK tier. I've sort of just stopped doing them recently just because I found that the seated lateral raise and just overhead pressing in general is a lot better of a stimulus. I really have a fondness for them though, just because when I tweaked my shoulders on my pec a couple years ago, upright rows were an upper body lift that I could do without pain. You know, surprise, surprise, it's not inherently dangerous. This is the push press. Push press is just okay. I don't feel like it's as good as the overhead press or other vertical presses. You said it's a showman's exercise?
I always see people do them in the gym when they're trying to show off.
Yeah, and it's always some Sammy sausage head using like fucking 95 pounds doing goddamn clean and jerks, dropping the bar and shit.
Is that when you do that?
Yeah, that's when you pull it off the ground and then fucking do the. It's a Chad looking movement. It's called an Olympic weight. It's called like a.
Is it when you do this thing?
Yeah, it's the clean. That's the clean. She's doing like the clean sitting next to me, not with an actual bar because it would smash my potato. But I was teaching her about the Oli lifts. Single leg Romanian deadlift on the Bells of Steel belt squat, particularly. I feel like single leg deadlifts S tier. Gangs Goblin said it too. S tier. So they work your glutes and your hamstrings just as well as a regular Romanian deadlift, but they don't work your lower back as much because the weight is lower. But you're getting just as much of the stimulus, if not more, because the range of motion, it just feels more targeted. And no shit, bro. You're doing it one leg at a time. It's going to feel more targeted. But if you haven't tried it specifically on a belt squat machine, or maybe with dumbbells too, that will work really well. And it's a very worthy exercise to put in your program.
What is it?
Oh, the rear delt skiers. These look stupid. Like, off of fucking, like, looks alone, straight Davy Jones locker tier. But ironically, they go in jacked tier because I feel like they work your rear delts really well and your upper back really well, and better than a rear delt fly, but not as good as a reverse pec deck. So hopefully I have icons for both of those. So the rear delt fly, I also used to say is shit because you only feel it at the top. There are ways that you can make this work, like with rest pause reps, that feel really, really good. I don't feel like they're as good as skiers though, and I certainly don't feel like they're as good as the reverse pec deck, which I'm going to put in Hercules tier. Bull tier is looking pretty stacked, fellas. I don't know about y'all. Was there anything that I put in okay or lower tier that you feel like should be in bull tier? I'm curious to see what y'all's thoughts are. We're going to do another rapid fire. Behind the neck pull-ups or pull-downs, they're okay. They're not dangerous, but I don't feel like they work better than a regular pull-down. Just is what it is. The butt blaster machine. Okay. I mean, I would never do it over... My woman's nodding in approval to that. I would never do it over like a Romanian deadlift or hip thrust. But the fact of the matter is, when you see the chicks at the gym that are they got big booties, they use this machine. I've never seen a big booty chick at the gym do fucking Jefferson curls. That just is what it is.
Patty cake.
Patty cake?
So you're doing patty cake.
I guess he is doing patty cake. I don't know why he's clapping. Maybe he's counting his reps or something. This is the Nordic curl. Nordic curl. So, fellas, again, my legs are big as fuck and my hamstrings are very strong. I think Nordic curls look chatty. And yes, I can actually like do Nordic curls, okay? I'm not just ranking it down here because I can't do them. Because then there's always that dude that says, you're only ranking it low because you can't do it. I can do it. I just don't. I would never do this. If I had the choice of a hamstring curl machine or a glute ham raise, I would never do these. It's just, it's too intense for the average lifter. If you can do them, it's like, are you able to do them with enough volume to target your hamstrings well enough for them to grow long term? Yeah, you can do regressions and band assisted ones, but those just don't feel as good as hamstring curls. If you have access to a hamstring curl at the gym and you're choosing to do Nordic curls, that's cool or whatever, but I don't feel like that's training economy that's being well spent. Unless you have a reason for doing them athletically. You know, there's certainly a case for that. Pull downs. Lat pull downs. This is a hot take. I feel like they're substantially worse than pull-ups. I started doing lat pull-downs instead of pull-ups for a while last year, and I felt like my back got smaller. Same proximity to failure, actually using all chest to bar reps on the lat pull down, and I just don't feel like the stimulus just isn't as good, in my opinion. So I feel like if you don't have access to them, you're not missing out on anything. That's just my opinion.
Shoulder shrug.
This is the Zercher shrug. No, this is a front-loaded Zercher carry. Sam asked me to rank this. I don't have much experience doing them. I can only think about them theoretically. So if we're doing them for the purpose of simulating certain strongman events where you're carrying things in front of you, I feel like they would be bull tier. She's doing the Zercher shrugs right now. Yeah, that's what Kiriako's Grizzly does, but he does it with full plates. Yeah, no, this is just like you're walking with it though. That's the only thing. It's like a conditioning exercise, and like when certain strongman events, you'll have like an Atlas stone that you have in your arms like this, for example, or you'll have to carry shit in your arms like that and walk. I'm not very qualified to talk about this one. My intuition is that for specificity, it goes in bull tier. But if we're talking about just for hypertrophy, yeah, man, it goes straight in jacked tier. The Chad fly press, aka barrel press, goes in Hercules tier. I feel like it's really good. I don't feel like it's as good as ring push-ups, but they're very similar to one another. Cluster sets, they go in jacked tier. I don't feel like they are the end-all be-all of hypertrophy training, but they're very nice to spice up your training, and they're a good intensity strategy to use every once in a while, but I don't feel like they are as good as everything above it. Even though they are a great tool in the toolbox. Not saying they're not. They're S tier in utility. I just don't feel as though they just don't compare to everything else up here, in my opinion. This is a regular dumbbell bench press. This is to signify the way people do it with quarter reps, straight in Davy Jones locker tier. I hate when people say things like, I'm doing dumbbell press to get more range of motion on the pecs, and then they're doing fucking half reps. It just doesn't make sense, bro. Make it make sense. Do a fly press. This is a shrug. So where do you think the Chad shrug goes? Where does the Chad shrug go?
Probably either in the jacked or the Hercules, if you're saying it's a Chad shrug.
I probably shouldn't have called it the Chad shrug if I wanted your unbiased opinion.
I would personally put it in okay.
You would put it in okay? Okay. Why would you put it in okay?
I don't know. I just feel like it reminds me of like a beginner's like exercise, like, or a warm-up exercise. And then if you were trying to do something more targeted, you probably could find a better exercise.
I think that's fair. I feel like if you're using dumbbells, what my woman said is more applicable.
Like, I don't know. I feel like there's an exercise
yeah.
that's a little bit more targeted.
Like rows or pull-ups or something.
Yeah. Like,
but just imagine that
warm-up, though.
I was going to put it in Hercules tier, because just imagine instead of the Grandma Josephine Jimmy Bookworm dumbbells, he had 405 pounds on a barbell and was doing shrugs.
Like, that's a lot, but I just think of like the motion. It reminds me of like I don't know, shrugging to me seems more like I'm trying to get some blood flow. I'm trying to pump.
Yeah.
Get ready to like do another exercise.
Well, some people want to get their traps bigger though. Their traps and their neck bigger. So if we put the Zercher front carries in here, or the Zercher shrugs as well in jacked, we got to put shrugs in jacked too.
That's right.
Yeah, we got to put the shrugs in jacked too. Hanging leg raises, any ab exercise that I have on here. So we have GHD sit-ups, hanging leg raises. We have the cable crunches going S tier. That is to signify, if you're not training your abs directly, you need to fucking start. Farmer's carries have the ultimate Chad factor. Like, if you've ever seen Tom Haviland work out and you've seen him do farmer's carries, that maybe is the cause for what will make this so infuriating to you. I'm gonna put them in jacked tier because they require that you morph, and this is if like you're strong, like if you're strong at squatting and deadlifting and you can actually generate enough fatigue to have to morph your training around this exercise. That's what I'm referring to. If you're walking with the farmer's implements, like the farmer's walk implements, you get great forearm stimulus, great core stimulus, great upper back. It's extremely fatiguing though, and it doesn't work the lower body enough to warrant the fatigue that it generates. So it'll actively take away from your squat training and your deadlift training. And I don't feel like it gives as much as a squat or deadlift, even though for what it does, it's an invaluable exercise. So I'm going to put it in jacked tier. If someone has an argument for why it should or would go higher in their opinion, I would love to hear it. What is this? It says, oh, this is the pendulum sissy squat. Rest in peace to Dr. Doug Brignoli. I feel like these go in jacked tier. They're strictly worse than a leg extension. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't feel as though that they're as good as a leg extension, but if you're at home, they're immediately accessible if you have a weighted pull-up belt and something secure to like create the pendulum effect from. And it gives a lot of the same benefits as a leg extension. Definitely more knee fatigue, which is another reason why I put it below the leg extension. And I'm not one of those nocebo guys, but like even for me when I first started doing them, I'm like, damn. And I'm doing them controlled with pauses and stuff. I'm like, damn, the back of my knees feel fucked up. That's not to dissuade you from using it. It's just something that you have to be willing to not do as much volume that you want to do with this at first to build up the tolerance to it. If you talk about it from the angle of this is strengthening my knees, anything where you're putting your knee that far over your toe, dude, that's like the best thing you can do for that. The Nemesis bar bench press, aka the Herc bench press. So this is me talking to my woman. I named this the Herc bench press because you see Ken right here, right? Mm-hmm. He has this home gym where he does this exercise and he just does like a shit ton of weight on it for a lot of reps. So I named it after him, the Herc press. It's called the Nemesis bar though. It's from Bells of Steel. I really prefer benching with this these days because one, it has an increased range of motion. Two, it's a neutral grip, so it's easier on your shoulder joint and it just feels more natural. And three, it just looks cooler in my opinion. So not only is it more functional than a straight barbell bench press, it's more of a longevity exercise. And it looks cooler, in my opinion. It's also an exercise that you can use as an assistance movement for the bench press. She's comparing her bicep to my forearm and seeing how it gets absolutely mogged into oblivion. You have a 13-inch neck, though, right?
You weren't supposed to release the size of my neck.
All right, so she says I wasn't supposed to release the size of her neck yet because I was supposed to make it a post, but she has 9-inch arms but a 13-inch neck. I told her neck to arm ratio is fucking bull tier. If
you release the size of my arm.
I was going to on a post anyway.
No, you're only supposed to release my neck ratio.
Well, I gotta tell them your arm measurement to tell them the ratio. So like fellas, as you know or as you don't know, we're getting to the end of this, so we're telling more jokes. Your arms, your calves, and your neck, ideally they should be similar. Not exact. They don't have to be exactly the same, but as long as they're like an inch or to half an inch between one another, that's like ideal, right? So if you have 17-inch arms, you should have a 17-inch neck and 17-inch calves, plus or minus an inch to half an inch. Her fucking neck is 13 inches. Certified horse neck. Zero neck training. Just complete natural thoroughbred out the womb horse neck. Air Horse 1. Your neck doesn't look huge, just because you're 5'2" and you're a woman, but it's just the fact that both your neck is so developed and your arms are so small that your ratio is crazy. All right, little neck tidbit aside, lat prayers. I used to rate these higher. They're good. I just don't feel like they're as necessary as I thought they were, because you can... So my talking point in the past was this, because I have to give you context. I said that this is an S or A tier movement because your elbow fatigue from doing pulls limits you from doing as much volume as you could while also training your arms as well. I've found that you can build yourself to be able to beat the fucking crap out of your arms and still beat the crap out of your back with pulls. And I don't do lat prayers, and I haven't had to. But some people really connect with it because it is a good lat isolation exercise. The pullover, does it go in Davy Jones' locker tier? Natural hypertrophy is trying to triangulate your position right now, because this is one of his S tier exercises. I was going to put it in Hercules tier, but you said it.
I was just asking.
Wait, no. Why is it going Davy Jones' locker?
I was just asking if it was in Davy Jones' locker.
I mean, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. I don't
know that exercise.
So since she brung it up, I used to think that they were a Davy Jones locker exercise because, in my opinion, I did not feel that they were a great exercise for anything that they were supposed to build, like for the lats or whatever. I still don't necessarily think they're as good as a pull-up, but what they do absolutely do, and what makes them a Hercules tier lift exercise, is that they expand your rib cage and work your intercostal muscles, which can, if you're a narrow guy, like you're just naturally narrow. I have wide shoulders naturally. I could stop lifting and still look like I lift as long as I don't get super fucking fat, like, because my shoulders are wide. This will give you more of that effect that someone like myself has naturally. I naturally have wide shoulders and a small waist. Yeah, say it again.
You're broad.
I'm broad. Yeah, Omni-Man the broad. All right, but the pullovers will give you some of that effect.
Triangle body.
Yeah, the triangle body. That was something on Baki. Oliva fought this, Unchained. The wife that was super fat.
Roly-poly?
Yeah, the roly-poly wife. Well, he fought this goddamn sumo wrestler and got wrecked. He had an upside down triangle body, and there was like some Giga Brain shit to say that like the triangle body was weaker than the inverted triangle. Because sumo wrestlers are very bottom heavy.
Yeah. Wonder if those diapers give them chafing.
What diapers? What are you talking about? What the fuck? I think she's getting tired. We gotta wrap this shit up. What the fuck are you talking about? Back extensions.
You know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't. She wasn't wearing diapers.
No, like those like.
Oh, that. Are you talking about the wraps that sumo wrestlers wear? They're not diapers. What the fuck? Something that'll give you diaper booty though is back extensions. They're Hercules tier. They're not as good as RDLs, but
I just mean like, 'cause they just wear those.
It's like a sacred garb that they use for combat. It's not a goddamn diaper. Some sumo wrestler's gonna kick down our goddamn door and sumo slap the shit out of you.
I don't mean that with any disrespect.
No, of course with no disrespect. She just didn't, she just, to her it looked like a diaper. The Yokozuna is gonna goddamn come to her fucking doorstep and be like, "Where's the woman?" So these are mutant RDLs. I talk a lot of shit about them because people, for example, will see someone like myself using a weight on an RDL and say, "Hey, I can do that." And then it always looks like this. So it's a partial rep conventional deadlift with a ton of knee bend and you're not stretching the hamstrings. Don't lie to me. You're doing it to lift more weight. I feel like it's a decent accessory. It's not as good of an accessory as an RDL or just more deadlifting or like a deficit deadlift, but there's a case to use it. I just feel like the case for it is limited. But if you were to just do these with soup sandwich form, you would still get big and strong, just not as efficiently. This is the Chad trap bar deadlift. Just using a trap bar in general. One would expect me to put this in okay tier just because that's typically how people talk about it. And I feel if we talk about any individual exercise, some of them are just okay. But when we talk in terms of pure utility, and this individual here is using the Bells of Steel industrial trap bar. Really long sleeves, great grip on the knurling. It's got a great bite to it. You can do so many things with a trap bar. You can do farmer's carries. If you are farmer pilled, you can do trap bar deadlifts. You can do trap bar stiff-legged deadlifts. You can do walking lunges with these because it's an open trap bar design. You can do reverse lunges. You can do overhead presses. This is also rackable. You can do so many different exercises. So I feel as though if you were to just get one of these for one particular exercise, maybe it's just okay. But it does so much and it does these things competently that you have to put it in bull tier, bro. Like, there are fellas that can't really squat very well. They may not have access to they may live somewhere where their gym is super far away if they even have access to a commercial gym. But they have plates and potentially a trap bar at home. You could stand on plates at home and do squats with these. That'll actually work better for some people than barbell squats. Of course, you can do deadlifts with them. Got to put it in bull tier. The Chad T-bar row. I used to put this in shit tier. My boy Jacked Souls used to like to have fun with me about that because it's his favorite back exercise. I'm going to stand on my opinion of saying they're not as good as barbell rows, in my opinion, but there are ways that you can do them to get a great benefit out of them for the upper back. And of course, if you do them with more, knee bend, they're a great posterior chain exercise as well. I'm going to put them in Hercules tier. All right, I know what the proper name is, but you tell fellas what the proper name is for the sumo diaper.
I don't want to mispronounce it.
You can mispronounce it. You don't speak Japanese.
I think it's pronounced Amawashi.
Okay, all is right with the universe. The sumo Yokozuna isn't going to come to our front door anymore. JM press. I feel as though this goes in a similar tier as the French press. I don't think that there's a big enough difference between overhead or extension work with the triceps for us to talk about as if these are orders of magnitude better with one another than one another. It's just which one you connect with better and which one is more scalable, like feels better on the elbows and shit like that. I personally can do any extension, so I just do the ones that feel good to me, feel the best.
They have to be properly folded.
Of course they have to be properly. See, yeah, the AKA the sumo diaper has to be properly folded. You can't just throw that shit on.
And there's different styles.
Maybe I'll make a sumo video because she's like intrigued now. Reverse curl works the forearms, the brachialis really well, which a lot of people sometimes don't have lagging biceps. They just have a brachialis that's small, so their arm has no width to it. If you do reverse curls and you do them right with like your wrist cocked up and maybe even thumbless as well, you'll notice that your forearms, the part of it that is neglected a lot of time, will start to increase in size along with your brachialis. I really love these better than hammer curls. If I had hammer curls on here, I'd probably put them in jacked tier. And of course, I'd have the reverse curl in Hercules tier. That was requested by my man Izzy from Powerlifting to Win. Neutral grip chin-ups. I feel as though these are... I don't personally like them as much as wide grip pull-ups, but I feel that they're a great means of getting someone that is strength oriented to do like a non-powerlifting exercise and get a great benefit from it. So a big area of opportunity with fellas that train for powerlifting is in upper back and in pulling strength in general, or for fellas that train for strength sports in general. This is really well tolerated on the elbows and on the shoulders, and you can move the most amount of weight on it. And it's really easy to just get into for that reason and get the positive reinforcement of forward progression, and obviously you get jacked from them. I don't like them as much as regular pull-ups, though. That's just my opinion.
End of your video.
On what?
It says that they're never washed due to like not wanting to like lose your good luck.
I don't know nothing about that, bro. If they ain't washing them, I didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe somebody knows. Because that's really what I was just wondering.
Well,
like,
save that for the sumo video. It's the tier list video. Rack chins are excellent. They're like an in-between of the ghetto pull-down and the L-sit pull-up. They basically all function the same. This isn't just for beginners. So you're taking your body weight out of the equation a little bit by putting your legs up with the rack chin. But just do more reps, or you can add weight to it. It's just a way to simulate the diagonal pulling pattern really without recruiting your abs. So if like you're soft or whatever and you don't want to work your abs because you just are the CEO of abs and you don't want to overtax your core. Oh, I did 21 L-sit pull-ups, almost 200 pounds, bro. You're not going to overtax your core. It's a good core exercise. But if for whatever reason, after doing L-sit pull-ups and just exhausting yourself with that, you wanted to do a down set and just do more of that same pattern, rack chins are excellent. So the holy trinity of diagonal pulls is ghetto pull down, rack chins, and L-sit pull-ups. We're down to the last two. I already talked about seated lateral raises. I said I'd put them in Hercules tier. I just found them. This is a snatch grip high pull. Hercules tier. I feel that they're pretty comparable too. In terms of like these exercises here. Yeah, it'll work your yoke. Guys, that's the tier list. This was like 100 exercises, including the 12 or 15 exercises with my staple lifts. If y'all disagree or agree, or you know, if you like the inclusion of the Gaines Goblin, you just want her to speak up next time. It's okay. It's your first time on YouTube. I'm not mad at it. You did a great job.
Except disrespecting sumo wrestling.
Except disrespecting sumo. But that wasn't on purpose. You didn't do that on purpose. And plus, you have the based incline curl opinion as well. I don't want fellas to forget about that. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, or just exercises I didn't talk about that you'd like my opinion on, let me know and we'll talk about those. I'll see you on the next one.